commodity, delight, and firmness. Three key elements that helped shaping this project, or I would rather say, the future. Cascade.
The concept of mixed-use development goes back to the 15th century in the medieval villages, and by the time it has been developed and generated into three different types: vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Also, to understand more of such a development, we collected three different case studies in different countries and cities to solve the problems facing a specific community.
We criticized the case studies by having positive and negative points and how we can reflect them in our project.
We extracted climate information from climate consultants for our site in Al Khobar, and then evaluating the site in a matrix to understand the site more and to give a design response. The site sits on a humid city, 2 kilometers away from the sea, and targeting the main roads, crossing a roundabout, and neighboring a residential complex development. The surrounded culture are mostly families living in villas. The noise distortions coming from different directions from the street, and the dominant wind direction from the north side.
The literal meaning of cascade is a small waterfall falling step by step. However, the metaphorical meaning of that term is the passage of knowledge and inheritance, and that relates more to our concept because our concepts relate to the social aspect of living and the passage of knowledge from one individual to another. Collecting ideas from early stages of this project and cross-referencing these diagrams have resulted eventually in creating what is called the Design Interpretation Table. In this project, we intended to increase connectivity and walkability. Therefore, we created a massive plate system that actually connects buildings. As for the function, the main idea here was vertical zoning and private spaces, so we provided mid-rise buildings and private accesses to these areas. In the sustainability part, we wanted to save energy by core systems approach, so we created a hollow form into our project and connected systems into our plates. We wanted the project to be meaningful, so we focused on three main things, which is affordability, social, and most importantly, the routine that the layout provides. The project is heavily dependent on the human behavior and connectivity. Therefore, the term cascade was an important thing because the cascade is the passage of knowledge from one person to another.
Doing the mass model helped us to understand the spaces and how each building have a unique position that serves its purpose.
As we mentioned previously, the vertical zoning is the main idea behind the project. In this vertical zoning, you can see the initial connection between the functions vertically.
Focusing on the movement with the different experiences is one of the main goals in this project. We did an enhancement for the whole project to make it more stable aesthetically and structurally, mainly by reversing the first process. So we started to design the buildings first, then designing the connections between them.
In this part here, you can see how the vertical zoning has evolved and the horizontal zoning has become a reality. You can see the connection and the evolvement between each layer and each floor. The project is becoming more private as we go up and as we move towards the northwestern part of our project. The plate systems and the vertical mass system is generating the final shape of this project. However, the main emphasis here is on the sustainable approaches, which are the hollow plates and the air penetration movement that generating sustainability into this project.
The study is for 2 different times in the year to see how the building reacts to the sun movement in each season and provide creative solutions to it. The diagram explains the different process of the 2 buildings that we designed. The old one shows that we started by large slabs, then the buildings in the top of them. So we faced the problem of circulation and the structure of the small buildings. So mainly it worked as a sculptural project. The second one is the enhancement, so we flipped the process and started designing the buildings first, then the public spaces.
We developed a simple matrix to understand the connections between the building and another, a sophisticated one to understand the functions inside the buildings.
In the underground floor, over 300 parking spots are preserved with a direct connection to the outdoor market in the middle. As for the ground floor, the flow of people is easily managed between buildings and through the outdoor markets. On the first floor, you can see the connection between the mall and the multimedia throughout the plate and other masses. On the second floor, you can see how the plate interacts with the middle court of the project with a cafe placed on the edge. The last floor shows the connection and the flow of people on the larger plate. Ramps and vertical circulation points are placed around the site for easy access to all people.
We designed 4 different facades that have the same language, and for the type A, we tried to create a unique treatment to reduce the excessive sunlight into the building.
For the structural systems, we provided a detailed drawings for different elements, such as the emergency staircase, the elevators, and the 3D truss system that used for the theater to cross-span 30 meters, and beam connections with columns. The dominant wind directions are the north and northwest, but between July and August is coming from the east, from the seaside. To investigate the extent so-called the Venturi effect are studied with computational fluid dynamics, wind speed conditions in converging and diverging passages between perpendicular buildings. Harvested rainwater can provide a source of alternative water to the compound. The major component of the rainwater harvesting system are the plates in this project, which work as the surfaces and gutters to capture the rainwater and send it to the storage system.
Each building has a separate ventilation system, and that allows it to have its own separate and high-quality ventilation. 3 main mechanical rooms are distributed on the underground level, and that connects these separate systems into one. Refrigeration cycle uses solar panels or solar collectors as a sustainable method in ventilation in this project.
Two types of light used in the project, the spotlight and the batten fluorescent. Choosing 3 different types of trees at least with a specific height, spread and irrigation system, and placing them carefully in each place in the project.